on Saturday at 4 p.m. Moline hosting Andrew from Tinley Park. That's another 8-1 and 5-4 matchup. And Moline has always done well in these first round games. Grant, what can the Maroons do in this one, having home field advantage, try to get to that second week?
As Joe said, the slate is clean, but this Moline team is on fire. They've won 8 straight games, an 8-1 regular season, a perfect conference slate, and they've been really fun to follow. Now, coming into the playoffs, they get an Andrew team that I think a lot of people around this area are unfamiliar with. The Maroons were unfamiliar with it, but I think talking with some guys within the team, talking to Coach Morrissey last Friday, he said that they were going to find a good way to prepare throughout the week. And I think the guys are feeling like they've had a good week at practice. They kind of know what Andrew's going to try and do. Andrew in at 5-4. They played 3-3 in a very tough Southwest Valley Red Conference up in the Chicagoland area. Andrew's played some good competition. They run a very interesting offensive scheme, which I'm excited to see how this good Moline defense can handle it. Andrew has a very skilled quarterback, a senior quarterback, Camden Maniitis. He's got over 900 rushing yards on this season. He's got a good arm as well, but he's a very fast, sneaky quarterback. This Moline defense, led up front by Elijah Martin, Musa Mbenge, to name a few. And those guys are really going to have to set the tone up front to stop Maniitis' run ability. And then the secondary backing up. Those guys are going to have to be disciplined. I think there's a good chance we maybe see a spy back in the secondary to keep an eye on Maniitis, who could take off at any moment on any play with all the options and the motions that they run. Keaton Chalder, Drew Phelps, Alex Ocean, Hassan Nadai, Garrett Schramm, among those guys back there. They've played exceptional this season, and I don't think the mindset needs to be any different coming in to a playoff game, but an offensive scheme that I don't say you see a lot around the Western Big Six will be a test for this Moline defense, but they've been incredible. Just 11 points a game all season long, so I'm excited to see how they can handle a test this week in the playoffs. And offensively on the side of the ball, this offense, 35 plus points in 4 straight games, coming off a week against Galesburg, season high in points. They got their starters pulled in the first half, kept everybody healthy, got guys reps, and that offensive side of the ball is rolling right now. Case and Ponder, good bounce back week against Galesburg last week. An exceptional season, improving every week that goes along. And now he's going to get his first taste as going into playoffs with the Maroons. And then Nolan Ducey, big targets, had a big week last week against Galesburg. They also get guys rolling. Elijah Warren, Mark Carey continuing to have their same production as well. And an Andrew defense that has struggled against some good teams this year. This Moline offense, I think, has a good chance to do damage. And as a whole, slate's clean, but the approach no different for Moline. They've played exceptional football week in, week out, and I'm excited to see what they can do in a big game on Saturday.
And that goal for the Maroons is getting past that second week of the playoffs every year. What about this team do you see that could make that push this year?
They're really deep. I'd say they're skilled. They're more skilled than some teams we've even seen in the past that have gotten really close. You think about that 2022 team. I think this team matches that skill level just fine. A key on Friday, you got to be disciplined. You got to have a fast start. The playoffs, always stuff like that important. But Coach Mike Morrissey has known how to win in these first round games. You don't want to look ahead, so you got to take it. You got to take this game one game at a time and see where you end up if you happen to get out of it with a win.
The 2022 team, as Grant's mentioning, they were, obviously they were awesome. One of the best Moline has had, program history. But I think in comparison, a lot of that on offense was, they could hit some explosives in the past game, just like, just kind of how their offense is. They take timely shots and they can hit it, but a lot of their offense rode on the back of Riley Fuller and what they did from that team. This year, they've obviously got Mark Carey, who's second in the league in rushing, but I think we saw Elijah Warren would be a guy who'd be right up there too, but he missed a handful of games. He had a huge game against UT a few weeks ago. You mentioned Ducey being able to make some plays in the past game. They've got guys like Zach Sierra. Also, Alex Ocean, I believe, had a big rush touchdown against UT. So they've got multiple backs that can do the thing. And their offense, I think this is the most kind of quote unquote high powered their offense has been under Mike Morrissey. They just do a lot of things really, really well on that side of the ball. They get after you up front, and they do have it doesn't seem like they only have one or maybe two guys to rely on when it comes to touching the ball to get explosive plays. They have a multitude of ways that they can do it. And that offense, and you mentioned Andrew's offense is tough. On the other end too, man, that Moline offense, it might look basic, it might look simple. You look at the stat sheet and it's like, oh, well, they ran 65 plays and 61 of them were rushes. That's a tough offense to prepare for because of how fast it is. The tempo that they run for being a wing T offense is it's crazy to see how efficient it is. So it's going to be a tough day at the office anytime you go against that. And I think this Moline team is poised and ready to meet the challenge for what this postseason is going to see.
Playoffs are here. Games Friday and Saturday. UT Friday, Moline Saturday. We'll keep going and see who can make some runs this postseason. But for now, enjoy those games this weekend.